there's one thing in life I do not understand is racism. There are some folks in Turks and Caicos who claim that they are not racist, but their actions speak louder than words. If you're not racist, then treat everyone the same by giving individuals the same opportunity and pay as everyone else. Our government needs to implement an equal pay legislation. That's something my friend Floyd Seymour has been advocating for years. There's simply no difference between us. We're all human beings. We have the same characteristics. I know that some of us simply cannot control the way we behave because of our ignorance, which was based on stereotypes of races. The best way to address this situation is that we just have to get to know one another on a personal level. And I'm confident that some of us will act differently. So how does one get to know one another? Come to church and fellowship with each other. Invite some of your co-workers to lunch and get to know them. Do a birthday club, Encourage your children to mingle with other children of different nationalities. And from what I observe, quite frankly, the children are getting along really well. We need to get involved more in community projects, locals and expats, have a diverse group of people on projects. And I may just pause to thank those individuals who are involved already in a number of community projects, such as the Swimming Association, the Basketball Association, the Football Association. Of course, there are a lot more that needs to be done, and there are many other groups also that are doing projects. But we can do more projects together as a community. For example, crime is a big issue. So let us form a crime prevention project. Let's come together and have this crime prevention project in place and develop some workable solutions and then present them to the government. There are residents in the Turks and Caicos Islands who have some of the answers. Don't exclude them. We also need to address our youths. The youth center is functioning well. Let us promote this and increase the number of volunteers. We need a facility like a YMCA. Let us form a committee to get this going. We need to address, the medians along the highway. These are good community stuff that we could do. For National Heritage Day and National Heroes Day, everyone that resides here should support this event by participating in these events, by showing up and having Turks and Caicos flags and their vehicles, In fact, I challenge each resident in Turks and Caicos, if you're going to display your country flag on your vehicle, why don't you also display the Turks and Caicos flag right next to it, especially those persons who have been residents in the Turks and Caicos Islands for many years. I'm conscious that many of you will always have a bond to your birthplace. And so perhaps, we need to have an annual International Day parade, not a holiday, an international parade, and showcase all the nationalities in Turks and Caicos Islands. This will be a great opportunity, to not only learn about each other, but also to interact with each other. It should not be a competition, but more or less, for information purposes, to really appreciate and to understand more about each other. I know generally people are comfortable with their own acting group, and consequently, there's a network of relationships being developed among the same set of people. And so people hang out with their own, they interact, but let us get to know people of different backgrounds. I'm sure you'll discover that there's so much more in common than you think. We have a lot more in common than you think. In terms of discrimination, a person's income, profession, or their country origin should not be a factor in how one gets respect. Everyone deserves respect, as every job is important. Someone has to do the job that some of us consider menial. In fact, it's the so-called menial jobs that keep our country growing, as they are the ones keeping the rooms in spectacular condition. They are the ones preparing and serving meals to our residents and guests. And as a result, visitors keep returning, to the Turks and Caicos Islands. On another note, we've seen a number of athletes who are not the so-called indigenous person performing really well, and of course, representing the Turks and Caicos Islands. If these individuals were not athletes, how would you treat them? Would you treat them differently? Would you treat them good because they represent us? I think work permits should only be rejected if locals are qualified for the job. In fact, it should not even reach the board, because the Labor Department would have done its due diligence before issuing a clearance. And I'm aware that some job advertisements are very misleading, so as to hire certain individuals. And in so doing, hiring certain individuals, the Labor Department needs to recruit, additional expertise staff so that they can decipher the requirements of a job that has been advertised, as this practice must continue. In terms of housing, the Turks and Caicos needs to review the building code and not tolerate any legal checks. Demolish them. In the meantime, we need to partner with local contractors and individuals to promote the construction of apartments by offering incentives to the locals to build. If hotels can get concessions to build condos, and so should the locals for apartments. These individuals should show proof, of course, of housing, before arriving here. And so if we could get the locals to build these homes, the housing will be available. I believe at all times that qualified locals should be given first preference for a job or contract. On the other hand, I do not approve granting a job to an unqualified local just because he or she is a local, as some of us have a sense of entitlement without meaningful justification. This is a setup for failure. So do not buy into the concept, fake it till you make it. The truth always comes out. So don't embarrass yourself or our country by being in a role because it pays well, but you're not qualified for the job. If you're not qualified, efforts should be made, to gain the necessary experience and qualifications. Once you achieve that experience and qualifications, then you should be entitled to first preference. In conclusion, I believe the Turks and Caicos Islands can be the model country of living in harmony with over 91 nationalities. I thank God for allowing me to have individuals in my life of different races whom I consider as friends, brothers, and sisters for life. What about you? We can live in harmony. Let's get away with this foreign versus local. Let's live together, because this is the way that Turks and Caicos Islands will continue to develop as we continue to bring people in.